Hi, welcome to my video. So, yes, I know I was getting frustrated last night with NixOS. So I've been thinking about it, doing my job, stocking the shelves, stocking the dairy cooler. That's what I do for a living. I manage a dairy cooler. I work overnight, which is the best time to work because I don't have to deal with customers. But anyway, this video has nothing to do with what I do for a living. But while I was doing my job, I was thinking about NixOS. Of like, I feel bad for NixOS. I shouldn't be ditching it. I give a lot of distribution. Like I give Fedora a lot of chances. I like Gentoo. I gave it so much chances. And Arch Linux in the past, when I first started using Arch Linux, even though I had a lot of problems with it, like way back in the day, I stick with it. I'm thinking, why I'm giving up so much on NixOS? Like, why I'm giving up on it? And so I'm like, I'm gonna install it, but I'm not gonna enable the unstable package or channel. Yeah, unstable channel. I'm gonna update the kernel, but I'm gonna stay on stable, which you can do that. I wasn't really sure you could do that, but I figured out that you can do that. So if I type fast fetch, so basically I'm on, well, right here it'll say this is the stable release 24.05. I am on the stable release and I am using the latest kernel. So I redone my configuration file and I organized it a lot better. And I also fixed the NixOS program because it was to detect all your GPU stuff. You need PCI utils install. So I added that in my configuration file of the packages I install. So if I do type in nxi-g, it now shows my device. Shows the driver, and well, it doesn't really show the kernel. It just says kernel. I guess it's a module, or I'm guessing that's what it means by that. So basically, it's showing how it's supposed to show, how it does in Arch Linux. This is exactly the way I want it to show, and it shows the drivers. It shows your GPU and the modules. All that good stuff. If I do XX, so this shows more details of things. It shows more details of the card itself. So it's all good. It's really good now. Before it would not show all this. It would have a lot of errors, but I got all the stuff I need for this. And so if I do sudo nano /etc NixOS configuration, so let's put this in full screen here. So I sorted it out pretty good. So basically what I've done is I added my GPU. So this is what I use for my GPU. Then I added an auto upgrade for my NixOS. So there's an auto upgrade here. So this is my boot loader stuff. So I added, this is what gives me the latest kernel, the kernel packages. This will give me my latest kernel. I added this, but I commented out. So if I do use this on my B-Link, I can uncomment this to give it Bluetooth. But I kept it there because I could share the configuration with all my AMD computers because basically my B550A is going to be a Nix computer and it's also going to be an Arch Linux computer. I'm going to take Windows out. Arch Linux will be used to game and NixOS will be used to just play around with NixOS because I like NixOS. Now, I enable Flatpak and this is my Steam configuration because I had to add things that override. Or otherwise it wouldn't work properly. So my host name, my time zone, and So this is my KDE stuff. I install like the new ISO actually has the latest KDE, so that's really cool. So I didn't have to like do anything about that. Like because the last time I had the older ISO was 23.11. That was late last year ISO, and the 24.05 just came out not long ago, so I didn't download the ISO. I used it before it came out. Anyways, this is my sound stuff. So basically, it's all default stuff. What I've done here, I tried to get catnip working, but I realized that what did I say? I realized that when you get it from when you get catnip from the GitHub repository, it says catnap, and I think they're probably going to be changing the name because there is a program already called catnip, so that could be confusing. But anyways, but it still doesn't work on NixOS. I try to get it to work, but these are the dependencies that it needed. So I install all these dependencies. This here, what it says something to give GPU stats. Then I'm like, oh, that might work for NXI, and it did. So that's what it was missing. But I'm glad I check out catnip again because I needed this for NXI. Also, you'll need this and Toybox. You'll need as well to get all your information for your NXI work properly on NixOS. And I installed Gwenview, Discover, so all that stuff, so I can keep my stuff. And that's basically my configuration file. So I didn't really do much to it, but I keep it simple, stupid. That's basically what I do with my systems. But I am quite happy that everything's working good. Like the stable branch is actually good. I'm gonna stick with the release cycle, but I like the fact that I can update my kernel, which is good. So that is really awesome. So I have a stable system with the latest kernel. It's kind of like a Fedora in a way, if you want to think about it in that regard. Fedora, it's like a stable base system, and it has like sort of like a bleeding edge kernel. So I also added auto upgrade, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, this system's working really good. Like there is no problem whatsoever. The reason why I want to run my Final Fantasy 14 game on Arch Linux because when I run the game on Arch Linux, the time shows correctly on Linux with Arch Linux, like when I play Final Fantasy 14. But when I do it on NixOS, it actually doesn't show the right time. Gen 2 does the exact same thing as well, but when I install NTP on Gen 2, it actually corrected the time. I done this with NixOS, that still did not fix the problem. And I think it's a lot to do with the isolation of the system, where it's kind of like it's like an immutable system. So that's why I'm having problems to run catnip. It doesn't work. So it's called catnap that's what it's called now, I guess, because that's what I got when I got the repository. Anyways, so if I do cd/user/local/bin, so inside here, it's supposed to be called catnip, but it's called catnap. But either way, if I try to run it, it's just like it tries to go like in root. It doesn't want to like load up the user catnap. You know what I mean? I don't know what's doing it wrong. I could put my configuration file inside root, but I don't know. It's just not working. I'll figure that out. I will figure it out eventually. But just like running NixOS right now, and with the getting rid of NVIDIA is the greatest thing on this computer. Like using AMD graphics, man, it works so well. Like, look at the box; it's just so smooth. It's just smooth, man. I don't know. It just feels really good. Like compared to like using Nvidia on, like, cause like sometimes like Wayland doesn't work properly, on NixOS. It'll give you like a blank screen, and also things just don't work properly. But with AMD, everything works really good. But when you have to go into X11 or Xorg mode, the Xorg session, like honestly, I do not like to use that because for one thing, it's really old. Another thing, it works really slow. Like compare like launch an application, you don't have that nice transition. Like when you're in Wayland, you see a difference. How application loads up faster. It just seems like a more smoother experience if you're using AMD. When you're using Nvidia, it all depends. If it works good, it works good. But when it's not working good, it's a big problem. So that's why I'm gonna just stick with all just AMD graphic cards on my system, and going forward, buying new graphic cards will always be AMD because they are supporting FOSS when it comes to Linux, and their drivers are open source, so that actually can always be improved by a lot of people in the community. So that's good. That's a good thing. As like with Nvidia, even though like if they fix the issues, it's still non-free. It's proprietary drivers, which is really bad. Like when you see Linus, like I remember like that when that video came viral. Actually, I think I was watching that video at the time, like the whole like conference, and yeah, and him doing that, I was like, whoa. I was shocked. I was like, what? this is getting more interesting. I was like getting kind of sleepy during watching the whole video. But anyways, when he done that, I was just like, I was using Nvidia at the time as well, and there was problems with Nvidia, like especially when it came to like having like dual screen setups. Like on one, like on your card, you have like more than one monitor hook up to your graphic card. Like I used to do that back in the day. Now I don't. Like this is why I actually use two computers, because I want to have two monitors. So basically, the way I do it, I have two computers, and one in each. Each computer has its own monitor, right? So that's how I do my dual screen setup. I know I can't slide my application to the next screen because they're two separate computers, but it doesn't matter. I like to just have a second computer while I'm gaming on the other computer. You know what I mean? Just have it like Discord, have the web browser, have other things I could do with it. You know what I mean? And play around with Linux while I'm gaming, because I'm a nerd like that. But yeah, my friend just showing that it works good for him as well. That's good. It's good. Like now, like NXI is just playing really well. It was missing. Wait, I'm being distracted here because people are messaging me and my phone is going off. I think it's a Reddit reply. Because I'm trying to get Catnip to work on NixOS. So that's what I'm doing right now. But yeah, like, so that's cool. Like I'm just seeing like the screenshot this dude showed me. So yeah, cheers for that. Well, no problem. That's what I do, man. That's what I do. I figure stuff out. I help people out. I don't know everything. You guys could always help me out too as well, because I don't know crap about NixOS. I need to learn more. So if people want to teach me stuff on NixOS, like how to get catnap or catnip or whatever the hell it's called nowadays, get this fetch program to work on NixOS, that'd be great. I would love to have that back on my system, because I love having that on Arch Linux. I wish I could have it back here. And also, I know people tried helping with Final Fantasy 14 with the time, but like, is there like a real good fix? Like, can I just, like, I don't know. Just telling my friend that he needs toy box and GLX info for NXI as well, and PCI utils and USB utils. So I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Anyways, yeah, so, yeah, NixOS, man. So I'm going to continue using it. I'm going to play around with it more. I never stopped using Arch Linux. So people thought, like in my previous video, that I stopped using Arch Linux. I don't. I have Arch Linux on 2 computers. I'm going to have it on 3 computers. And I'm also going to have NixOS on 3 computers. Because all 3 of my AMD computers have 2 hard drives. So one is Arch Linux and the other one is NixOS. I use both of them. Okay, so I'll play around with NixOS. I'm kind of like not using Arch Linux much because I'm learning NixOS. I already know Arch. Arch Linux to me is just a good system to always rely on. It always works good for me. I love Arch Linux. Okay. But I do love NixOS too. These are my 2 favorite systems. I used to love Gen 2 a lot, but as soon as I started playing around with NixOS, I'm like, this is way better than Gen 2. Like, I love this a lot better. Like, I don't hate Gen 2. I just think NixOS is a lot better. Because before it used to be Arch Linux and Gen 2, but I never touched NixOS because I was like, I heard a lot of bad things about it, and I just sort of kept that like that, and I'm just like, I'm gonna give it a try, and I just never did. I always hold back on it, but I did give it a try. I actually really liked it, and then I actually was having problems with it. I was fighting with it, and then now I was almost giving up on NixOS, but I'm glad I didn't because the way I set it up now is really good. Stable branch, latest kernel, smart. Because I don't really need to be on the latest like I don't mind being unstable. I just want my kernel to be up to date, like to the latest. But I like the base to be stable. So I'm gonna stick with the release, but I'll keep my kernel always the latest. Like I showed my configuration file earlier. So yeah, it's working really well. Even my screencast, even with not just doing software rendering, it actually works pretty good with OBS. I don't really need these. I could use these encoders, but I don't see much of a difference. I'm not really doing anything heavy with my screencasting. I'm just usually like this and basically recording my screen. So I don't really need fancy encoders. I'm not recording any gameplay or nothing like that, but I could do it. I actually done it in the past, and it works pretty good as well. It's working really good. It works good. It's good enough. I'd rather not care too much. I don't really need NVIDIA. I think it's just problems after problems on Windows. No, actually, NVIDIA works really good on Windows. It's designed for Windows. I don't use Windows. I use Linux. I'm a Linux guy. So I'm going to use AMD because I just like AMD. Because I use AMD processors, so it kind of goes good together. You know what I mean? But also, their drivers are open source, which is great. So, I mean, I'm all for that. I support that a lot, and that's why I bought another AMD GPU, so I can just have all my AMD computers all AMD. Take out the NVIDIA GPUs, put it away. I'll probably use those GPUs for something. I'll probably I'll want to build a NVIDIA computer. I do have a B-Link, which is not too bad, but I want to build something a little bit more powerful, especially when it comes to graphic card wise. And I do have some GPUs that I can just throw in there, but it would be Windows based. if I'm going to use NVIDIA, because I wouldn't want to use NVIDIA again with Linux, because that's just torture. I know they're going to improve it, but I can't always, like having drivers that are proprietary for your hardware. It's just going to be a lot of problems with Linux. I think the best way to go is AMD GPUs on Linux, and honestly, I love AMD GPUs. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm really happy with NixOS. I'm just right at this point. I'm just blabbing, just talking nonsense, but just letting people know on YouTube. I'm not ditching NixOS. I'm gonna continue the journey, but progress is progress. I got my NXI working perfectly good on NixOS, which is really great because I like to see my information, and it just works really well, and I'm really happy with that. Now I need to get catnap or catnip. I don't know what it's called nowadays, but I really love that fetch program because I just like it. So I'm going to try to fix that. And also, I'll probably install Final Fantasy 14 and try to resolve that time problem as well. Then, other than that, like I can just use NixOS easily without even have to use any other distribution. Because I don't want to use I do like Arch Linux a lot, but my main goal is to get really good at NixOS and get it to do all the stuff I do on my computer and use just NixOS. I love NixOS. I think NixOS is a really, really nice distribution, okay? I love it. Like, I really was kind of mad with it, and I felt like I was going to ditch it. But deep down inside, like, I felt so bad saying that. Like, no, I can't ditch Nix. I can't ditch Nixie, man. I can't. I like something about this system. I like NixOS. I do. I'm actually a big fan of it, and I'm gonna stick with it. I told myself, like, you never give up on other distributions. Like, why give up on Nix? Nix is really good, and like it's a really good system. Like, don't give up. So, and I install it. I'm gonna stick with stable though. I'm not gonna like. I like the fact that it's staying unstable and having my kernel to the latest. That's a good setup. That way, like, my foundation is stable, and it is pretty stable. It works really good. My music is working good. I got my music player working good. I got my music on here, and yeah, it's working really good. Oops. So yeah, I got music here. I'm not gonna play any music because of copyright stuff, but I do got music and it works well. I'm happy with that. Yeah. Yes, I'm back on NixOS. I still got Arch Linux on this computer. I'm not giving up on Arch Linux. I always have Arch Linux. It's always on my computer. Okay, it's not going away. Just because you see a video of me using NixOS doesn't mean I deleted Arch Linux. People have more than one hard drive in their computers, right? And I'm a Linux nerd. I use a lot of systems. I play around a lot. I play with FreeBSD. I play with OpenBSD. I play with NetBSD. I play with Open Indiana. I play with a lot of systems. I don't talk about much of them. I just kind of play around with them, and that's what I do. But I run a lot of systems. I play around with a lot of systems. I just love to learn operating systems in general. That's just a hobby of mine. But I really, 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 really like NixOS. And I think NixOS is a really good distribution. I really like the new release. It's pretty solid. It works really well, and I'm very happy with that. And I'm happy that I resolve the problems. I know what I need for NXI, and I know, like, when you install it, it doesn't install all the depths, the dependency for it, but that's okay. I'll install them myself. Anyways, yes, I'm just really happy. That's all. I'm really happy I got my NixOS working really good. Like it's working exactly the way I want it to work, and I'm really happy with it. Anyways, guys, thanks for the watch. Have a good one. Cheers.